Hi folks, Andrew Chappell here from Andrew Chappell Natural Bodybuilding on Facebook. So we just had the Drug Free Athletes Coalition DFAC World Finals, just Halloween past there. I'm just making this video now to talk about some of my own personal highlights from the show that went past just a few weeks ago. So first off, I'd just like to put this disclaimer and say that these are all my own opinions and not the opinions of anyone else. So if you agree or disagree with these feelings, that it all comes back on me. It's no one else's thoughts on this matter. I will stipulate though that I was probably in one of the best seats in the house because I was sitting there on the judging table judging that show, and that most of my scorecards more or less came out exactly as the placings came out in the day. So that's just another point I'd like to make. So the DFAC World Finals, it was a fantastic event and it was such a good show, and I would just say that it's a great venue, it's a great setting to have a World Finals. I mean, there's nothing better than getting to the end of the year, especially if you're coming across from Europe or elsewhere in the Northern Hemisphere, and you've had a long hard season and it's kind of cold and stuff like that, and then you end the season in November, the end of October, in the sunshine. So great setting, great venue. It couldn't be easier for a competitor this show as well. I mean, if you stayed at the venue, you had the Whole Foods just across the road, so you could go and get all your food. It was literally a stone's throw from the venue. You stayed in a hotel, which if you just went up and down the lift, you could just get to the venue just by going to the third floor. You go at the pre-judging in between something, you go for a sleep, and then afterwards they had the Halloween party afterwards where all the competitors take part. There was lots of cake, there was lots of food put on. I think it was a pancake party. Everyone was dressed up and they were like, it worked really well. They decorated the place in sorts of Halloween stuff with coffins and tombstones and spiderwebs and everything like that. Worked really well, and had a DJ on for the whole night of the party as well. And I was one of the folk that were dancing there until the end of the night, until they told us to go home. So I really enjoyed it. And then the day after that, they had the pool party as well, which was great fun down on South Beach down in the Congress, and anyone that turned up and stayed till the end will know it got a little bit crazy at the end, but it was great fun. Anyway, so back to the show, and I'm just going to talk about some of my highlights, and I suppose that the best place to start is probably to talk about the pro men's class. So we have a crowning of a new pro men's world champion in David Kay. So big props to you, Dave, for finally getting your hands on that elusive world title. I think Dave's been a runner-up now on 2 separate occasions at the World Finals. So this was, I'm sure, really great vindication to do it for a third year and to go on and claim the title. Dave looked fantastic. He had a little bit more size than he had last year, especially across the shoulders and the chest, and his back was a little bit thicker as well. And he brought that crisp condition that he always brings. And if you've ever seen Dave in the flesh, you'll know he's something else. He really does take it to the next level in terms of the conditioning. He narrowly, and I have to emphasise this, narrowly managed to oust Siobhan Cunningham in second place. Siobhan has got a crazy physique. He's so heavily, densely, thickly muscled, and it brings his own crazy condition to the stage that it was that close between the first and second places, and I was really pulling my hair out of who to go. I would say that Dave just narrowly managed to win this by being slightly better than Siobhan in the morning show, and then in the evening show Siobhan probably flip-flopped and beat Dave and probably got better scores at night as well, to probably just make it really close between them. Siobhan for me was not quite as good as he was last year. And if he had been in that great shape that he was last year, I think he would have closed the door, lights out, and that would have been the end of it. But he left the door open just enough for Dave to take the title, and Dave thoroughly deserved the victory in my opinion. Moving on to third and fourth spots, I don't think it's disrespectful to say that the battle for the first and second was always going to be between Dave and Siobhan. But in third and fourth place, we had Tori Washington and we had Fabian Boucherts. I hope I said that correctly, Fabian. Tori had a brilliant physique. It was so well put together, a tiny little waist, nice sweeping quads, really full chest, shoulders. He came out at night and done this sort of Kai Green style posing routine where he had like a big cloak over his face, and he looked brilliant. He had that sort of combination of size, muscle and symmetry along with a condition that was just enough to edge out Fabian. Fabian, a former amateur world champion with the DFAC, he could have been just a little bit darker, I would say, with his tan, and if he brushed up his posing a little bit better, he would maybe have been able to edge out Tory, but it was close between the two guys. And again, like the Siobhan and Dave scenario, I think it probably flip-flopped, whereby Tory wins the morning show, Fabian gets better at night and wins the evening show, but he's not got enough to make up the score. I mentioned to Shane Rabin and Robert Peacock, these two guys were huge, probably the biggest bodybuilders in the show, and if either of these two guys really ever nail that condition, they're going to be a real threat, because both were carrying huge amounts of muscle. They have those nice round massive muscle bellies, but they were just coming up a little bit short on the condition stakes, and if they get that, then they'll see themselves move up the rankings quite nicely as well. Moving on to another class now, the Pro Athletics. So I really enjoyed this class. I think this is probably one of the best classes in the show, and it has been for the last few years. And I would say that the class, in my opinion, seems to be evolving a little bit as the years go on. So whereas in the past we were sort of looking at girls who had that sort of long, sleek sort of look, now we're getting girls coming into the class who have got great V-tapers, and when you're judging that and you've got a symmetry round, you just simply can't ignore that. So Angela Yo, or Pro Yo, for me was the standout winner, because she had this great X taper, she also had enough conditioning and size, and she had a lovely posing routine that she just ticked all the boxes, and thoroughly deserves the first place. After that, it was really difficult to probably choose your second and third place, or even fourth place actually, because all the girls were bringing slightly different physiques. I mean, you had better shape but not as well conditioned, and then you had really hard muscles but not great shape, and then you had people that had good conditioning, good shape from the front but were kind of weak from the back. So it becomes difficult to really know where you're going to place these people after that. In the end, the judges went Christina Campano, I believe it is, and then we had Melissa Johnson in third place. I should say that the year before, I believe it was, Melissa was second and Christina was third, so they've actually turned around, but I would say that Christina was a little bit better than she was the year before, and that allowed her to edge out Melissa. Christina was probably the hardest girl in the class, if not one of the hardest girls in the show. Her shoulders were so hard, you can see she'd really worked hard on her diet, and she had really given everything to bring her best package to the show, and she kind of had to do that because she's not blessed with the great natural structure that Angela had, and the great natural structure that Melissa had. But when you bring that hard sort of muscle, then you can't ignore that from a judge's perspective, and that's probably why she managed to move up into the second place position. If we move on to the Pro Masters class, this is another really interesting class. This is probably the best Will Usher I've ever seen myself. If you've ever seen Will Usher, you know that he brings a really great polished package, really good classical poser. Also is really innovative and does some great routines, and this was no exception, where he had Mrs. Usher come on the stage with her GoPro camera and pretend to film the routine in almost like a watching you stalker-esque sort of way. They sort of reversed it a bit when Mrs. Usher came on later on and did the same routine, and Will followed her on stage, so that was really cool. But Will, the criticism of Will in the past has always been he's not quite brought the condition that he needs to match up with his classical shape, but on this occasion he had, and when he did, it was kind of lights out. Daz Cooper was in second place. Daz probably not as good as he was the year before, but it would have been great to see 100% Daz Cooper versus 100% Will Usher to see how that one would have played out. In third place, a shout out to Ben Scribbins. Ben pushed Daz close, and this was Ben's pro debut, so if Ben can sort of polish up on his posing a little bit, maybe improve his colour and stuff like that, then he could see himself even being a real threat to Daz, a former pro world champion. So he should be really pleased with his performance. I was a little bit disappointed with John Puskerix in fifth place. I've seen John before. I think it was 2012. Oh no, sorry, 2013. and he had a crazy amount of muscle, especially from the back. It was really hard, and I think he was a bit unlucky not to come in at least second place on that occasion. This time, a little bit softer, and he really, because he had that softness, he wasn't going to be able to move up the places any higher than where he sort of came, 5th place joint with a John Clark. But if John Puskas can recapture some of that old form, then there's no reason why he couldn't, especially on this occasion, have challenged for the top honours on this one. The pro figure class, now all I can say about this was, oh wow. So we had Tiffany Sipos, who I might go as far as saying she's one of the best pro figure competitors I've ever seen. She was brilliant. Huge legs, huge shoulders, huge back V-taper. I mean, some girls were saying that she was perhaps too big for the class, but I like to sort of think that if you're that good, sometimes you can almost redefine the class. And don't forget, I mean, if you're doing this class, we want to see muscle in these figure girls. We don't want them to be slight or small or anything like that. You need to have a figure, so that means sweeping lats, broad shoulders, and the quads as well to give you that nice X shape there. And she brought that. I would love to see how Tiffany would compare to our former world champion Alex Ellis, who's slightly taller and carries the same amount of muscle, to see who would really triumph in that battle against someone who's got a slightly more elegant shape but well muscled compared to Tiffany, who was a bit of a powerhouse really. Great legs, you should see the legs. And all these classes I should mention, if you go on the DFAC Facebook page, or even if you go on my page, if you scroll through, you can see pictures of all the classes and all the photos, and you can come to your own decisions on these things. I should give a shout out to Kirsten Milne, who placed in this class from the UK. Well done on your pro debut as well. 5th place in a tough class was a good result for yourself. We talk about the pro women's bodybuilding class now. We had Candy Scott in 1st place, 2014 champ, and then Vicky McCann, the 2013 champ, going up against each other. So this was a really hotly anticipated battle. In the end, it would go to Candice Scott. Candice, for me, not quite as good as she was the year before, but if you've ever seen Candice, you'll know that she's got these great round muscle belly. She's got a huge back, and although she's a little bit light in the legs, they were at least in condition, and it was probably from the back that managed to decide the fate of this show. Vicky McCann had got great symmetry, and if you look at the photographs of this class, you'll notice that actually her symmetry is probably better than Candice Scott, but she wasn't probably quite as hard as she was the previous time, but in her opinion she brought a better package. But again, you can look at the photos and you can decide for yourself how that one went. I'm going to talk about some of the amateur classes. The highlight in the amateur now was probably the lightweights. This was probably the most truly international class of the world finals we had. So I think in 1st place we had Derek Davis from the USA. We then had JP Malabar competing out of the UK, but he was actually from Mauritius. With Carlos, I'm not going to try and pronounce your second name, Carlos, but he was from Greece competing out of the UK. We then had Marcus Lee out of the UK but representing China. So that's a truly international class. Really good to see that on a world final stage, because it is a world finals. Derek Davis, really symmetrical, really complete. When he turned to his back, shredded, diced. The glutes were some of the most crazy glutes in the show for how diced they were. Just a really neat, well put together package, and I think in the end probably straight wins all the way was a fair result for that guy and how he placed. If you go on to the heavyweights, Lewis Smith, again, he won the heavyweight title. I think that's the 2nd time he's won the heavyweight title, and it was an anticipated battle to see if he could actually finally get his pro card, but Derek Davis was just that little bit too complete for Lewis in the end, and he managed to edge him out and become the new pro men's bodybuilding, claim his pro card and be the amateur world champion on that occasion. Keep going, Lewis, though, you're not far away. You got sick conditioning, crazy big legs. If you can add a little bit more up top, especially from the back, then I've no doubt that you'll finally manage to capture that world title. I should also give a shout out to a few other people. So well done to Laura Curley for winning the Pro Athletic title in the amateur show as well. You look great, Laura. A great end to the year for you, I know, and this is the best she looks this year, and well deserving of the title. Well done to Rob Mason as well for taking the Pro Masters class. I'm sure he'll be a great competitor in years to come in the Pro Masters class as well over in the States, to go up against guys like Will Usher and Daz Cooper, Ben Scrivens, etc, etc. And we also just like to say well done to Team USA, who won the DFAC World Cup. So if you're not aware of this, what happens is every time someone from the US or the UK or the rest of the world wins a class or scores some points, then places, then they get some points for their team, and then all the points get added up in the end, and then the winner takes home the DFAC World Cup. So grudgingly, I have to say, well done to Team USA. Maybe the UK can finally grasp it from your pry it from your hands in the future. We'll see about that for next year. So that's about it for the video. Stay tuned. I'm going to go through the best of 2015 bodybuilders probably in the next few weeks, once we've had the Natural Olympia and WNBF Worlds out of the way, and then I'll collate that with the best of 2014 list that I did from last year as a sort of aggregate, and then we'll get the sort of best in the world currently just now over the last 2 years as well. So if you've got any comments or if you like this video, then please leave them down below, and thanks for watching.